How are you doing? I'm in LaGrange, Texas, about 2 hours away from Houston, and a couple of hours south of Waco, a town with a cute romantic name. And what's been happening is that it took me what, 3-4 days to get here, and I had those magnets, so I went to this industrial parts dealer, and I think what the parts I had, they were for a trommel, like a kind of like a, what do you call them, escalator conveyor type of thing, the thing that, you know, it starts shaking and it sorts the material, and probably they put those magnets underneath, so if there's any metal parts, they probably use it, I don't know, maybe at scrap yards or something. So when the material moves on that band, the magnets capture, you know, whatever's needed. Anyway, no problems, you know, very relaxed atmosphere there, huge yard, because it's a small town. You know, sometimes you go to a place like that and it's all crazy busy, they have no place for you to park, you know, or go back, wait outside, you know. Now this is a huge place, kind of like, you know, it's agricultural area. And it's a nice little town, and I can see there's a Walmart over there, but I found some parking here. There's a Shell little truck stop, and they have signs, oh, semi parking for semi trucks. And across the street there's McDonald's, and I went there and did some searching for my next load. The problem with some McDonald's restaurants is that they try to be cheap, and they don't put any plugs, like electric plugs, for people to use, and my laptop just died, so I had to leave. And today's Monday, for some reason I decided to get off my diet wagon. Had all kinds of bad food, you know, typical McDonald's food, but I didn't eat anything today. Since morning I just had some coffee in the morning, and then was driving for almost 3 hours to get here. But the load is delivered, and I started looking, and there's a bunch of loads from Houston going right back to where you know, my home parking area, right? I cannot say where my home is, but actually it is my home, even though it's not a house, but my home, the place where I spent most of my time in Canada. And so it's pipe, 40 foot long, 6 feet tall. I guess it's just either single pipe like big one, or it's they stack them. And the price is like amazing, you know, like over $6 grand US. You know, the load way down here paid less. Usually loads going the other way, they pay still less. But I look at the comments and it says flatbed only, step decks, sorry, please do not call. You know, the story of my life. Like one guy said, he says, you always have a wrong trailer. It's like, not me, but whenever you have a trailer, it's always a wrong trailer. A shipper will always need a different trailer. It's like Murphy's Law of trucking, you know. You can never please everybody. And just before you start calling Landstar Safety Department, no, this is not a Russian vodka, this is just water. Don't get too excited. By the way, speaking about Texas, so it turns out, instead of 2 classes, 2 online courses, I had to take 4, and there's still number 5, where I have to go in person and spend half a day at one of our orientation centers, because there's a class, like a classroom class, you cannot do it online. So it turns out there's like 2 secret branches of our government, of our company. There's equipment compliance, and there's safety, right, that deals with the driver. And since I switched my phone to my Canadian number, and I've been at home for a week, I go back into US, I put in my AT&T card, and some crazy messages pop up on the screen. You got 8 voicemails. What? On that AT&T number. So I call my voicemail, and it's the same lady. Every day she leaves me a message that she's from safety and I need to call her ASAP. And that's normal, of course, it's not a good thing to miss those calls, you know. So I call her up and I call them back and I said, so what's going on? Yeah, I know my phone. That's why I list both phone numbers in my Landstar profile. Like, you know, when they see my truck number, there's 2 numbers listed there. I said, I just spent a week in Canada, so of course I use my Canadian number, you know. Why didn't you send me an email? And they say, oh, we try to avoid email because there's no telling if people received it or not. Then, you know, we send them messages and then they say they did not receive it. So I guess with voicemail, they're more certain that people hear what they have to say. I don't know, I didn't even listen because each message said, hey, this is name from Safety Landstar, please call me back. Boom, I go to the next one. I made a note to call this person at Safety, and I listened through the first sentence of each message and I deleted them all because I knew what it was all about, right? And then I called them and straightened this thing out. And it turns out those 2 classes I took, they were for the leaks, on engine leaks, right? That did not mean I was done. So I paid the fine. I took 2 classes. Now I have to take 3 more classes because I was talking on the cell phone when parked at the red light. Don't get me started. Anyway, what else is new is that Western Star salesman sends me an email. Oh, I tried calling your number, goes straight to voicemail. So of course now I'm in US, he's calling my Canadian number. And I sent him an email. I said, I'm in Texas, USA. Please use my American number. So I call this guy. I use my Skype because right from AT&T I cannot call Canada now. When I had Verizon number I could just call, and because the phone worked everywhere. So of course it's a nuisance, you know, with 2 numbers. See, people call me, they call my other number. It's a bit cheaper, but I don't know. But I'm gonna keep it because now I don't have Verizon, so I like AT&T, works okay. Just once yesterday I was at this Carl's Corner, just near Dallas, Texas, a small truck stop, and there was no signal. You know, like the phone, like one bar on the phone signal, and there was totally no data, no internet. Like occasionally I would get an email, but when I tried to use, you know, tethering, like create my own Wi-Fi spot, nothing was happening. So that was like a dead area just south of Dallas. But this only happened once, you know, no big deal. But other than that, the connection works great, so I'm pretty happy with AT&T, and I got prepaid, AT&T prepaid on my Samsung Note 3. I love this phone. You know, huge screen, perfect trucker's phone. Very decent camera, you know, lots of storage. Oh, I see something beeps. Someone is sending me an email. What is this? Oh, that's a load I just booked. And so what I was saying, that yeah, the Western Star guy. Oh, wait a second, let me just answer this lady. I'm picking up a forklift tomorrow, just like a partial load. And I usually just send something, you know, like got it, so that they know I got the message. Because it's already end of the day. I don't want her to sit there and just wonder if I got it. So anyway, so Western Star guy. Yeah, I closed the window because last time I did shooting in the same position, I noticed that because of this window, the camera was making me too overexposed, too much light. So now we don't have any light. Should be perfect. Oops, my old t-shirt. So Western Star guy calls me and he says, "Oh, I built your truck. I'm still waiting for a confirmation from the factory. Takes them a week to come up with a quote." Mac told me, hey, 144,000 bucks Canadian. You want it? Boom, give us $1,000, and 3 months your truck will be here. Brand new, spanking new. So, of course, it's a 13-liter engine, which I'm not too happy about, but they say, oh, and I see all these, you know, Mack trucks pulling tankers and stuff like that, but especially with 3.91 axle ratio, shouldn't be a problem. 18-speed tranny, 3.9 transmission, I mean axle ratio. Anyway, this guy says, I built you a truck that I would buy myself. And right away, I was cautious, you know, like, what kind of truck did you buy? It took you a week to, and he still didn't give me an exact number. He says, so he lists me all these options, and of course I asked him to put in a big engine, 1850 torque, the same torque as is on a Mack, but it's 15 liter, right? DD16 Detroit, 18-speed tranny. He put a double frame, like not full frame, but I think like 70% of the frame has a second frame inside. So it's a heavy truck, about, he said, 23,200 pounds. So lift axle all installed from the factory, 46 rears, 14.7 front, so big tires, and he put in flat top 68-inch sleeper. So the sleeper is bigger than on the Mack. And he used disc brakes on the front. I asked him about that, but for some reason he didn't put them on the back. And then of course he put probably all types of chrome. So I said, okay, so what are we looking at, you know, in terms of money? He says, the rough estimate right now is, I cannot say that number with a straight face, you know, how can people build trucks like that, like who can afford them? So he says, the rough estimate, and I still have to wait till the factory gets back to me with the accurate number, but I estimate it's gonna be about 165,000 Canadian dollars. Oh, but he put the wheelbase, you know, the distance from the front axle to the middle between the rear axles, he made it 269 inches. I said, why did you make it so long? Oh, he put 150-gallon tank on the left, and he put a tank, the same size tank, but it's split. And I never saw that. Like, one part of the tank is for fuel, the other part of the tank is for oil, for the PTO, wet line. And I said, I don't want that. I said, I see guys just use a aluminum tank behind the sleeper, so give me like 150 gallons each side. So this guy, basically, he was trying to impress me or something, but he was building a very expensive truck. So that's what I gather. And 269 wheelbase, actually it's not unlike what many people think. It's yeah, it's legal, but then you cannot, the new law, yeah, you can get a longer wheelbase truck in Canada, but your total length, the overall length of the truck and trailer is still the same, which means that you cannot go over like certain length. So if you make your truck too long, then you cannot haul a 53-foot trailer. But I don't know, like this other guy I talked to, he has a lowboy trailer and he works for Landstar, and his truck, he also got a Mack, and he put the wheelbase, he said, was either 262 or 268 inch, so he made a long wheelbase too. I said, how you like drive with that? And he says he has a permit. He just bought an annual permit in Ontario, and in US they don't care. US doesn't have the same limitations on the truck wheelbase. So, but anyway, so 165,000, it's ridiculous, you know. I can buy 10 trucks like mine for that money. Oh, and I met this guy at the Toronto Truck Show, and he says, he gave me his card, and he says, you come see me, I will build you a truck that will last 15 years. And of course, you know, I said, okay. And I'm walking away, and I'm thinking, why would I want a truck that lasts 15 years, you know? My truck is 10 years old, I already don't know how to get rid of it, you know? But anyway, so I started looking for a load. I cannot do that pipe, and I call the agent that pays over $6 grand to go right back to Ontario. I cannot believe this. No tarp, flatbed only, step deck, sorry, no step deck. And I call him and ask why. Just give me a reason. I want to know why. And it's 45,000 pounds. I can do 45,000 pounds. I said I have 3 axles on the back, so if you worry that if I have a tandem, right? If I had a tandem step, that it would be overloaded when all your weight is at the bottom deck. But I got 3 axles, and they say no, that's not it. I said, what is it? What the problem is? We don't know. So basically the shipper tells them, don't send step decks if you... Oh yeah, and she said, we really cannot let you go there because the shipper, they became kind of angry. They said, you sent us another step deck and you're gonna lose this contract. We're not gonna deal with another Landstar driver again. Can you believe this? But I'm thinking, like the only explanation I can come up with, I asked him, I said, how do they load? Do they load with a forklift? She says, no, I think it's with a crane. And that's the only explanation why they don't want to load a step deck, is that probably their crane doesn't go low enough, which makes totally no sense because the crane usually picks up stuff from the floor, right? So it can go all the way to the floor, pick up something, carry it, and put it down. So that's not it either. So basically, some shippers are just, pardon my French, but they're idiots, They just don't want to deal with a particular type of a trailer, even though it's a perfectly legitimate and safe way to transport their stuff. They don't want to do it. Instead, they would pay $4 a mile, but they want a flat. The one I just got rid of, right? So I had a 53 flat, and I got a 3XL step to make more money. What? Butterflies are here. And anyway, so I started looking for loads, and I could not find a load to load the entire trailer. And I see there's a partial load in Waco, Texas, and it's a forklift. Pays like partial rate, but the majority of my trailer is still empty, and I see there's a couple of other partial loads. So I booked this one, and the other people I couldn't reach because it's already, what is it, 6 o'clock Eastern time, so it's 5 local. They all gone home, drinking beer or tequila, eating burritos. This is Texas after all. Oh, and the most important news of the day I left for those viewers that don't tend to fall asleep too early while watching my videos. You know who you are. There are some people that watch everything, I don't know why they do it. Maybe their TV broke down, but they watch everything until the very moment, and that's why, to thank these people for their attention and cooperation and for their enthusiasm towards my trucking videos, I left this most important part of the news. Before I left Canada, I called a financial guy where my step deck is financed, and I asked him to look into this lowboy trailer. And then I mentioned the truck, right? I said I was trying to get a brand new truck from Mac, and they said no. And this guy says, hey, I'd be interested in doing both, right? I think I mentioned this before. But today is Monday. He says send me all the specs. So I sent him all the specs and quotes. Sent him a couple of load descriptions to see that, so we can see that, yeah, you can make money, like more money with this kind of trailer, so I can afford the payments for the trailer. And I wasn't, like truck or no truck, the main thing for me is the trailer, because I can still use my own truck. Paid for, all I need to do is just add the PTO, wet line, and install a lift axle. And I probably can find used axle, but I'd rather go new. Then you know that you're not going to have problems. But anyway, so today is Monday, right? So this guy has been sitting on these quotes for what, 3-4 days? So I just sent him an email. I said, any news on the truck and trailer, thank you. And I don't want to annoy the guy because he's very busy. He's the actual financial company, not those BS brokers, that, oh, we have 15, 16 clients with money, and we basically take your application and we shop for a loan. I just found out there's people like that. You see a big ad in the newspaper or trucking magazine. Oh, financing available, lease, call us. And you call these guys, and turns out they don't have any money of their own. All they do is just act as middlemen for real financial companies. And that's this guy that I found to finance my step deck. If you remember last summer, the guy who charged me all of a sudden, oh, you owe me $500. I said, for what? Oh, it's administration fee. Processing fee. I said, you never mentioned this before. He just told me that when we were sitting down in a coffee shop in Cambridge to sign down the paperwork. Oh, I think I should have told you. Then if I forgot, I'm sorry. And I see in his eyes that he's lying, So now, of course, I'm not dealing with that guy. I just went directly to the financial company. I have all their phone numbers right on my contract for the step deck, and I met actually the guy a couple of years ago when I was shopping for a new truck, so I know this guy. So I sent him this email. Any news on the truck and trailer financing? Because I know it's already late, but I know he's carrying his BlackBerry all over the anywhere, right? And he sends me a quick reply, and I quote, a trailer is no problem, period. A trailer is no problem, working on the truck now. And his signature. You guys know what that means? That means that I'm getting a 55-ton lowboy brand new trailer, 26 feet deck, 3-axle, airlift on the rear axle, 54-inch spacing, 107-inch swing radius on the gooseneck. I've been doing this research like for years, so I know what has to be done, and that's the quote I have. So a long gooseneck, because you need to move the weight to the lift axle. You cannot do that with a short gooseneck. That's what cheap trailers have, so that's an option. So 107 swing radius, they cannot do any longer. 26-foot deck. It's a bit high, 24 inches, but then the bottom is, the spacing from the ground is 8. And you can go to 22, and then you'll have 6. Same thing. So it's an excellent trailer, and I opted for, instead of oak, I went for epitone, which is a better wood. It's more expensive option. And then I asked him for the back to install a manual override switch, so you can lift the rear, go up and down if you need to go over some obstacle. And it's a hydraulic trailer, so detachable gooseneck trailer. So now I'll just need, I didn't want to get that motor, Honda motor, because everybody online I did this research, everybody says they're a pain in the ass, because you have to buy gas. You forget to buy gas. They say they always break down when you're at least 20 miles away from the nearest town or nearest gas station, or you cannot start them in winter. Everybody says go with a wet line. And wet line is just a little pump on your transmission, and then you have a tank with special oil behind the sleeper and some hoses, and you just turn on that PTO. I had it on my tow truck when I was a tow truck driver. We had a PTO because you needed that to operate the bed, that slides like this. I had a tilt and load truck, and there's a couple of levers there. So you start that PTO, like push the clutch in, flip the switch, and you raise your RPM to, let's say, 1200 RPM, and that means that your pump is working, and there's oil pressure in the lines, and then you just go and you do your thing. So with the tow truck, I could move my bed, tilt it, go back, pick up some stuff. Oh, and I had a winch, so everything worked from the PTO. It's getting hot here. What's the temperature here? 97F plus 36. Welcome to Texas. But this way, when you have a wet line installed on the truck, so there's no motors on the trailer, you just connect hoses, like for the oil, for the air, for the brakes. It's just a couple of extra hoses, and then everything runs off your truck. And this is the most reliable way. And that's what I'm gonna get. So 55 ton, and it's a real 55-ton trailer, meaning that the capacity of the frame is 110,000 pounds and 12 feet. Because some bogus 55-ton trailers, they'll say, oh, 55-ton equally distributed, or 55 tons and 16 feet. But in 12 it can do only 50 ton. So that's not a 55-ton trailer. Why I know this? Because that's the guy who gave me a quote for Etnire. $68,000 US. 68. Why? Because it's a Etnire. Alright, so is there anything else besides the sticker that causes such a huge difference? Because this trailer is only 53,000 US, which is still expensive, but same steel, same wheels, same rubber, same epitone wood, The only difference is these guys, where I'm buying the trailer, they sell directly from the factory. So I'm just gonna drive down there, and pick up the trailer. Whereas this at Nair, it's the dealer. So it's all these dealer markups, right? The trailer is built in the States, in Indiana. What is it? I forgot the name of the town, but it's somewhere near Chicago. And then the dealer makes, that's how the dealer makes the money, right? That's why the trailer is so much more expensive. Plus it's a famous brand, you know, like Rogers, at Nair, who else is there? Trail King. These are all very expensive trailers. I don't care about the name, I care about functionality. If I can make money with that trailer, that's a good trailer. Especially when it's new. And some people were asking me why am I so crazy as to buy a new trailer, lowboy trailer. It's because there's no difference in price. Well, there is a difference, but it's very little difference. Used trailers, it's a very good investment. This trailer, if I decide to sell it, 5-10 years down the road, I'm gonna pretty much get my money back, you know. It's gonna be like my retirement package, because I buy it now for 53 grand US. 10 years from now I can sell it probably for, I don't know, 40, 45, you know. It's a nice chunk of change. These lowboy trailers, they don't lose their, it's not a truck. Truck is, you see my truck, I can probably sell it now for, you know, anywhere between $16,000 and $18,000. Why? Because the truck is 10 years old, it has 800,000 miles on it, because it has all these components like engine, transmission, brakes, tires, right? Lowboy trailers, they last, like trailers in general, they last much longer. So trailers is a much better investment than a truck. So it's always better to go cheap on the truck, right? But go good quality on the trailer, because the trailer will outlast any truck. That's for sure. And as old truckers say, you don't make money with the truck, you make money with the trailer. You know, and that's why, of course, I'm kind of hesitant. Oh, look at this. That's my dream over there, right there. Oh, he's not turning in here. Jeez. I bet that guy is coming from that place where I got unloaded. It's probably too far for this camera, but the guy had a lowboy trailer with 4 axles on the trailer, and I'm pretty sure he had a 3-axle truck with a lift axle. But this trailer is going to be only 3 axles, so that means that I'll be able to do, if it's this truck, I'll be able to do about 80,000 pounds with the lift axle. And if I get a brand new truck with the heavy axles, probably I can go as high as 90,000 pounds. So that's like medium-sized excavator, big dozer, you know, stuff like that. Some generators, you know. So you guys, thanks for sticking with me. So when my dream finally comes true, probably in September, when the trailer should be ready, you're gonna see some pretty exciting videos, you know. The loads are gonna be much more interesting than now. Like, what is this? I had a submarine, I had some spaceship, some magnets. This is just kids' toys, you know. Now I'm gonna show you the real stuff, the real heavy haul machinery.